Nikola Tesla, a Serbian-American inventor, electrical and mechanical engineer, and futurist, who is best known for his contributions to the design of the modern alternating current electricity supply system. Yet to many, in both the mainstream community and the alternative research community, Nikola Tesla is so much more than merely a contributor. He is perceived as a technological messianic figure whose inventions brought about a wondrous and modern society that endures to this day. But what's the truth behind Nikola Tesla? Is he a genius and a prophet? A visionary who was able to quickly put wondrous ideas in his mind and bring them about to practical reality? Someone who was able to work and innovate tirelessly and bring about a modern society all through his own vision and tireless work? Or was he a recorder? Someone who had access to records from some pre-existing civilization, and because of his genius intellect, he was able to reverse engineer many of those records and bring about that technological level of development required to move our society forward after a previous catastrophic event. Or was he merely an individual that was designated to be responsible for the release of such information to a society that was coming back from such a catastrophic event? In this exploration, we're going to examine the life and accomplishments of Nikola Tesla and posit theories that support all three of these possibilities. Let's start by examining the overall life of Nikola Tesla from the Transportation Evolved website. Nikola Tesla was an extraordinary man. He accomplished more in his lifetime than many of us could ever hope to achieve in 100 lifetimes. And where have we heard that before? Tesla held over 300 different patents spanning several countries, from wireless technology to alternating current, electric motors, radio, X-rays, radar, and laser technology. The list goes on. Nikola Tesla's work would go on to inspire thousands of inventors, dreamers, and engineers. To this very day, his inventions continue to shape life as we know it. You can't help but wonder what the world would have looked like today if Nikola Tesla would have been able to finish his experiments with free energy and long-range wireless energy transfer. Here's a brief look at Nikola Tesla's fascinating life. And this is one of the recurring themes that we get. He accomplished so much, he was an incredible individual, and yet, had he been able to finish his work, we could potentially be living in a wondrous utopian society. Perhaps there is more truth to that than we realize. Let's take a look. Born in 1859, he is believed to have been born at midnight and during a lightning storm, not during an F5 tornado. Born to a Serbian family, he was nicknamed Child of the Storm by his aunt. However, his mother replied to the comment by calling him Child of the Light. Looks like his mom had his back pretty well. He was born and raised on the conventional Slavonic rites, and his birth records show he was born on July 28th. He was the fourth child in a family of 5 children. He acquired various skills, including arithmetic, and he mastered the German language. The following year, Nikola Tesla moved to a place known as Gospic. Here his father played the role of a parish pastor. In 1870, he had a brush with death when he contracted cholera and was bedridden for a year. In 1875, he enrolled in college, Polytechnic based on a military scholarship. He was a disciplined student, achieved the highest grades possible while passing various exams. Started a culture club and received a letter of commendation in the technical department. During his second year, he got into an argument with one of his professors over the functionality of the Graham dynamo. Very intriguing. He studied philosophy in Prague. And then he moved to Budapest in Hungary to work for a telegraph company. Upon arriving, he noticed the Budapest Telephone Exchange Company was not in operation, so he worked at draftsman in another company. A few months later, the BTS company was in operation, and he was given the position of chief electrical engineer. So, interesting, he was trained in philosophy, he studied philosophy, and suddenly he got himself in as an electrical engineer? I wonder if they're skipping over a little bit there. Regardless, 1882, he goes to work for Edison. The company referred to as the Continental Edison Company. He began working in a new industry by installing indoor lighting resources. Very early time frame, impressive. His company had several divisions, and he worked in the section of the company that was responsible for lighting systems. At this company, he improved his electrical engineering prowess. The management team noticed his abilities and soon introduced him as part of the team that would produce dynamos and motors. Following this, Tesla moved to New York in the USA. Very intriguing. In 1885, he submitted some of his first patents, and that's really one of the key components of his life, being known as an inventor and a futurist who would bring about many patents for many different inventions. And this was apparently where he got his start. He worked to acquire the patents for the company, including developing an enhanced DC direct current motor. His solutions gained attention from the mass media who sought his solutions. In 1887, he reimagined the electric motor, came up with an induction motor that was operated by alternating current, a form of power that was becoming common in Europe and the USA. This type of power provided various benefits, especially in long-distance power transmission. The innovative electric motor was patented in May 1888, and it comprised of a basic self-starting design that did not require the use of commutators. As a result, this reduced the occurrence of sparking, the high maintenance that was associated with replacing mechanical brushes. He began his work on wireless power transmission. He patented the Tesla coil. And then it goes from there to his death in 1943. In early 1943, at age 86, Tesla died in a hotel room in New York. He died alone, and his body was found by a maid who ignored a do not disturb sign on Tesla's room. The assistant medical professional evaluated the body and determined the cause of death was related to coronary complications. A few days after the FBI ordered for the acquisition of his belongings, John G. Trump of the Trump family, and the uncle of the former president, was called in to evaluate his works. Trump was a well-known electrical engineer who worked for the state, which was held in custody. Following a 3-day investigation, Trump's report concluded there was nothing that would demonstrate a hazard in unfriendly circumstances. So quite a history, quite a life, and it does seem as though he played a very pivotal role in the development of modern technology. But what does it really boil down to? Now let's take a look at the summary of his inventions. Alternating current. This is one of his first ever inventions that caused a stir at the 1893 World's Fair in Chicago. And alternative researchers, of course, we always pay attention when we see this. The resulting conclusion from Edison and Tesla's argument on the distribution and production of electricity was provided. The argument could be summarized in relation to cost and safety factors. It was determined that the DC current produced by Edison was costly over long distances, and it also produced sparks from the commutator. Edison and his proponents used various approaches to oppose Tesla's alternative current as a solution. Edison tried to prove by going as far as electrocuting animals to prove his point. That said, Tesla responded by showing that AC was safe by shooting current through his body to produce light. This argument is regarded by most as the culmination of well over a decade of wrangles in terms of patents, corrupt deals, and stolen ideas. Despite it all, this proves that the system developed by Tesla is effective at providing power in the modern era. Modern lighting. While Tesla did not invent light itself, he is responsible for the innovations that have been crucial in how it's distributed and produced. He came up with the fluorescent bulbs in his lab 40 years before they became a standard in the consumer market, more so at the World's Fair. Where else? He used glass tubes by customizing them into the names of famous scientists to create neon signs. X-rays. Ionizing radio and electromagnetic technologies were common on research during early in the 1800s. However, Nikola Tesla went in depth by studying everything up until the Kirlian photography. This resource has the ability to observe life force, which is now common in medical diagnostics. It was a transformative piece of technology which Tesla was key in its development. Radio. It's important to note that Guglielmo Marconi is initially credited to be the inventor of the original radio technology. However, the Supreme Court denied his patent in 1943 when it was determined that Tesla originally built the radio years before. So I'm glad they got that sorted out. Remote control. The particular invention was a natural development from the radio. The demonstration of this technology occurred in 1898, and it comprised of several huge batteries. Although this technology remained dormant for a long time, it has played an important role in modern-day society. Everybody needs the remote controls, don't they? Electric motor. One of his greatest inventions has finally become popular by the car that brandishes his name. Although the technical aspects are beyond the scope of this summary, it is important to note that the invention of the motor was one of Tesla's exceptional inventions. In fact, the development of this motor could have helped in reducing the world's dependency on oil. That said, this invention was compromised by the economic crisis in 1930 and the following world wars. All things considered, this technology has revolutionized the world in many ways. Robotics. With his exceptional prowess in scientific concepts, Nikola Tesla came up with the idea that all people are inspired by external impulses. In fact, according to him, every thought and act was inspired by external stimuli. That said, an aspect of humanity was still present, with Tesla claiming the human replicas have limitations, including growth and procreation. Nevertheless, Tesla worked with all his information to come up with practical solutions. Some of his visions for the future include robotic companions, use of sensors, autonomous systems, and intelligent vehicles. Interesting. Lasers. Tesla also believed to have played a major role in the invention of the laser. Lasers have played an important role in various medical procedures such as surgery. Besides that, laser has also been a key in development of digital media. His invention of lasers is a classic example of crossing into the worlds of science fiction. The main paradox here being that laser energy can be beneficial for society and potentially dangerous at the same time. Well, couldn't we say that about every invention? Lasers are still evolving, and most techniques are based on the research by Tesla. A lot of credit. Amazing what this guy could do. Wireless communications and limitless free energy. These two technologies are directly linked, and they can have a significant impact in our daily lives. J.P. Morgan gave Tesla the funding to develop a technology that would leverage the occurrence of natural frequencies in the universe to transmit data. This represented the world's first communication resources, but also showed that there was a worldwide technology that could be used to connect the entire world. Long-range wireless energy transfer. Now we're going on to the myths, rumors, and legends. In other words, these were things that he didn't finish and were just rumors. The Wardenclyffe Tower. Long-range wireless energy transfer. Tesla was researching how energy could be transferred wireless by using his accumulated knowledge on microwaves and radio. This also included the creation of the Tesla coil and magnifying transmitter. Tesla wanted to come up with a system where energy could be transmitted through long distances. To achieve this goal, he developed the Wardenclyffe Tower in Shoreham, Long Island. The role of this island was to function as wireless telecommunications resources and transmit electrical power. J.P. Morgan, who funded the development of the tower, finally cut down the funding for the same. Since he was unable to find any additional financiers, he was inclined to stop the development of the tower. As a result, he was never able to achieve his goal of transmitting energy worldwide. Isn't that an interesting account? The death ray. Early in the 1930s, Tesla claimed to have come with a particle beam weapon. The device would have been capable of producing an intense and focused beam of energy. Energy could be sent across great distances to destroy armies, warplanes, and more. He advertised the technologies to various militaries all over the world, but never found the best financiers. How exactly is that possible if he was offering something like that, especially in the early 1930s? Efforts had been made to steal it, his room invaded, but nobody ever found anything. The oscillator and the free electricity system, and then improved airship, something else that garners our interest. Tesla proposed that ships which were electrically powered could help in transporting passengers from New York to London in less than 4 hours. He was never validated for this invention, and we nowadays have drones flying based on his work as inspiration. It's intriguing that it seems as though everything that we have in our modern society traces back to him. Well, at least he has a popular, if not the most popular electric car.
Tesla's very well known today, and if you punch his name in a search engine, this will come up. The venerable Tesla electric automobile. Certainly a great namesake, and well proving that Tesla's legacy lives on. So the concept of Tesla being neglected or forgotten is certainly disproven by that. It's safe to say that his reputation came back in the 1990s as he became much more well known. Thomas Edison, on the other hand, is less well known, although still taught in grade schools. Imagine if GM named the EV1 the Edison. Would it have been more successful, or would it have lasted and then been killed as it was supposed to in Who Killed the Electric Car? Tesla was well known with many other famous individuals of the time, to include Mark Twain, who Tesla supposedly helped overcome a health condition. This is Tesla's laboratory in New York City, very beautiful old world building. It seems that Tesla's adventures in the United States were tied to New York City, and his X-ray experiments were quite intriguing. We certainly rely on X-rays to the modern day for health assessments. Yet we have so many fantastical images of Nikola Tesla working in his laboratory, studying the effects of electricity, using the Tesla coil to produce those effects. And we have other facilities that he had built, this one in Colorado, where he was truly looking to examine the principles of wireless energy and the ability to use it. There's so many different aspects with this individual that he does become a very intriguing and enigmatic inventor. But still, we wonder what the reality is. We've looked at his biography, and there's always the facet that he had this great dispute with many, and that he was underappreciated, yet he appeared on the cover of Time magazine in the 1930s. It seems as though he remained appreciated throughout his entire life, and then certainly well after his life. We have some pictures of Tesla in his older years, and he does appear to be a very tired individual. His work habits indicated that he worked many days, sometimes 3 days in a row, and he was an insomniac, only sleeping 2 hours a night and sometimes napping in the afternoon. Who knows if that's true, but given what he achieved, that had to be true, leading to, no doubt, a very tired condition as he grew older, although he was always someone who seemed energetic and applied to his work. He received a full state funeral when he died, certainly not in obscurity, in the largest Catholic cathedral in New York City, St. Patrick's, and this was attended by many, and you can see that his casket had the United States flag and the Yugoslavia flag on it. And he has many plaques, many forms of recognition that you can see across the land. Here is John Trump, who examined Tesla's files and indicated there was nothing there that could be harmful after he had passed away. Everywhere you look, you'll find recognition towards Tesla. You don't have to see a Tesla on the road to realize that he is still very well remembered, and there are people who fiercely defend his legacy and what he has provided our civilization. Everyone, including the mainstream and the alternative research communities, indicate that we would not have a modern civilization were it not for Nikola Tesla, and he is appropriately recognized and well known. I remember in the 1990s when I joined some of my students in playing Command and Conquer, and I learned about the Tesla coil. He was even portrayed by David Bowie, the most charismatic actor of all. But what does this really tell us about Tesla? Let's look at the 3 theories about him.
The first possibility is that Tesla truly is a genius. Everything we were told about him is exactly true, and all of his accomplishments, inventions, patents, and the ability to envision a future world and realize the practicality of such a future world is beyond the ability of most human beings. Tesla didn't achieve more than we do in 100 lifetimes. He achieved more than any of us do in 1,000 lifetimes. He had unrivaled abilities to bring about something that few could imagine, and that's why the term futurist is applied to him. Imagine if the society had not held him back. Imagine if he had not had to battle his way through the aspects of even attaining patents and the basic limitations of American capitalism in the late 19th century. He could have achieved advances that could have brought our civilization into a utopia, probably by the mid-20th century. If we were to believe everything that we were told and displayed about Tesla's true genius, then there was no limits on what he could accomplish. We have to consider that that is a possibility, and that there are certain unique human beings who possess wondrous capabilities. We think of the many architects that we look at in the 19th century, and that would mean that all their accomplishments were true as well. That Julia Morgan really had designed 700 houses. That E. Townsend Mix had designed so many buildings in Milwaukee, across Wisconsin and Minnesota, and the state capitol in Topeka, Kansas. There's no limitations on what people can achieve, and perhaps that's what we need to remember. That we're simply underestimating the ability of human beings, what they can imagine, what they can design, and then what they can carry out with the pure force of will. And that is something that is inspiring at the same time. And for those of you that are proponents of the genius theory, then by all means let me know in the comments. And let me know what supporting evidence you have that supports it. And now we go to the prophet theory. The prophet theory that Nikola Tesla was a genius, but he had access to old world documents, old world designs, and the old world schematics, all aspects that were recovered from the technology of a pre-existing civilization. Did he have practical examples to work with too? We don't know for sure. We know that all the electric work that he did was based on the existing dynamos, and then he had improved it with the alternator and other aspects of changing the facets of electricity. But what if Tesla had access to these designs and these schematics, and he applied his genius to being able to update them, perhaps even improve them. Perhaps he was able to bring about many different improvements that did improve our civilization and bring it a facility that still exists to this day. It does not deter or deride the abilities of Nikola Tesla in any way, shape, or form. It simply shows that he had a little bit of a guide that through his intellect he was able to use to provide many examples of society. We have evidence in this in the fact that it seems that Tesla was able to envision many things that did not come to fruition. Perhaps things such as his death ray or the unlimited free energy that he wanted to provide the land. We just don't know for sure, but this is merely a theory. And there is some evidence for this theory. And if you are a proponent of the prophet theory, or assisted by schematics from a previous civilization, let me know in the comments. And let me know what evidence you feel supports the prophet theory. It's also worth to note that there may have been many other prophets, and that's what some of us have suspected that the architects really were. They had access to other designs, or they were simply given credit for the buildings, although that goes to the recorder theory. The recorder theory stating this, that Nikola Tesla was merely the individual that was designated by those that ran the society at the time to be the one who would release this technological information to the public in the form of patents of his inventions, and that it was done in a very controlled manner, and that what this allowed was the society to advance at a level that made sense and at a level that could be matched across the land. And what supports this theory is the fact that it seems as though it was a very controlled release of information, and the society did not lag at all in quickly developing all of these technological innovations, as all the lands changed instantaneously with the implementation of this technology. Imagine if it had always been with the civilization and they simply needed to rediscover it. They already knew how to use it and how to apply it, but they needed to release it in a manner that made sense to people who had never been exposed to it, or who had forgotten it because of the many generations between themselves and their predecessors who had used it in the past. This does explain the rapid implementation of it, and while we've always been told about the concept of future shock, it seems as though people rarely, if ever, suffer future shock. Of course, there's some devastating implications if we go with the recorder theory. One, it means that the genius and extraordinary aspects of Tesla suddenly become a fake. And this is a very contentious statement to make, and this is why this could be a very contentious theory. However, there is some evidence that support this theory as well. There is evidence in what we covered in this video that support all three theories. But ultimately, I'm not here to tell you what I think. I would like to hear what you think. I would like to hear which theory you think has the most possibility for being valid based on the evidence that we looked at. And by all means, highlight other evidence that you would like to in the comments. We know that Tesla is a very popular and well-known figure in the 21st century. Consider joining the channel as a member. You can be an explorer and receive early access to content, or you can be a Prime Explorer and have exclusive content that you can't watch on the regular channel. As always, ask questions, explore yourself, and you'll restore the world. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for joining me today.